And this is something that is very disciplined. You have to be very disciplined to do this.
If you want to become good at something, like anything else, you have to put time into it. You got to practice. You got to keep an open mind, you know, and go from there. I travel all around the United States with this. I've been on one coast to the other, training with different people.
So a good step to start off is go to your studio.
Well, obvious I'm prejudiced. I think my studio's the best. I've been around the longest, and you know, it's my studio.
Right.
Okay, I think I produce fantastic black belts, you know, for the art of self-defense.
Do you spend a lot of your time there?
Oh, all the time. When I'm done with this show, guess where I'm going?
To the studio.
To the studio. Okay.
You'll be there.
I'll be there, yes. Definitely.
And you train all ages. Anybody can do this, right?
I start them in between 5 or 4 and 6. Now you remember, as a child, I train them a lot different than I do an adult.
Right.
Because they're children. You've got to come down to their level. And I don't believe in mixing children with adults. You get an adult that comes into class, does not want a 7, 8-year-old child running around in his class.
Okay, so maybe someday you could show us the difference.
Yeah, it'd be
show
great.
Us how you do that.
It'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun.
Kids in and
sure, next time maybe bring a bunch of children with me and some adults, and they're going to do the same movements, but you're going to see the intensity is different.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, adults are more disciplined,
well,
of
sure.
course.
And the child are very good too. You know, I have children that have been with me. They started at 5, and now they're, what, 15 years old. I have children that started at 12 years old with me, and now they're like 40-some years old, wow. And I'm teaching their children.
Wow.
You know? I remember when they were kids, and they came to me at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. They came to me studying karate.
Is it ever too late to do this?
No.
So you can
age is irrelevant.
Yeah. So you can be 45 and
45 is young. To you it's
young.
Old,
okay.
But 45 is young.
Okay.
No, because remember, what you're going to be learning, you're going to be learning how to defend yourself. And rank means, all the colors of these belts mean absolutely nothing if you can't apply the techniques that you learned in class. You know, because what good is having a black belt if you can't do anything? Or you're not a black belt. You know, you think you are a black belt until you find out somebody in the street that's a little better than you, never trained, but he knows how to street fight.
There's always someone better than you.
That's true.
Always, right?
So when you go expect the unexpected, right?
Never can be on top.
Only for a short time.
Only for a short time.
Okay, because there's always somebody trying to get you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's normal.
Somebody's going to top my show, right?
Well, they're going to try. You know that, John. They're going to try to do that. I understand.
Right. So let's get back to the Kung Fu and the karate and what's... I'm sorry, I didn't remember.
Kenpo.
Kenpo. Okay, so talk about Kenpo.
Okay, Kenpo is a... Let me go to Kung Fu first because it'll lead into Kenpo.
Okay, so we can do that.
Kung Fu is a Chinese form. Now, if you went to China and said, I want to learn Kung Fu, you know what they make you do? Work. It means basically work.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so years ago, I don't think you weren't even born then, John, that the program Kung Fu came out. Then they had another Kung Fu program after that. And Kung Fu, basically, you know, these people, they were like Shaolin priests, and part of their training was medicine. You know, part of their training was the art of self-defense. You know, they were religious people.
Right.
So, but they learned how to defend themselves too, as well as being religious. It
was a whole package.
Right, it's just one thing. So people play on one end, the self-defense. So the animals that they actually taught in these temples were a variety. You might learn the tiger, you might learn the dragon, you might learn the crane, leopard, the snake, the praying mantis system.
So the moves are named after
animals because they copy animals. You might learn the praying mantis or drunken monkey system. See? So there's a lot of animals that they copy. So the particular Chinese form that, you know, that I teach in my studio is the tiger, the dragon, and the crane.
Are these imitated from the animals?
Yes, the movements are. This looks like a tiger paw, doesn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
So
because
that would be
that would be a strike.
Okay.
Okay. The crane. The crane would have the crane would be a part, like a wing, or they have a beak, they strike. See, the movement of a bird. Okay? And the dragon is the mythical animal that the Chinese, you know, hold very sacred to them. Okay? And it's a long motion, represents the seasons, opening of seasons.
Can you show us the dragon?
Well, anything dragon, I have to get up as a long striking motion.
Oh, okay.
And to be spreading the body out like a dragon would be, and they would strike with a claw. You ever see let's say lizards and kimono dragons? You ever see things on channels, they show kimono dragons. You ever see how they move, and they strike and they grab? And that's what the dragon
So is that how they study?
Well, they watched the animals. Right. And they took things from the animals and they practiced. They say from the birds and the monkeys and etc. Then the drunken monkey system. That means you look at this particular person on the floor, looks like he's drunk. He's ready to fall over. That's a disguise, because as you think he's going to fall over, he hits you. I fought a guy one time. Came to my studio many years ago, and he came in. I've never saw him before, and he came to my studio, and we decided we were going to spar. I just got into the Chinese. This had to be maybe 30-some years ago.
Wow.
And the guy came in, and all of a sudden he was like falling all over the place. Got real low stances, and he ran around, looked at him, looked like a monkey, except he looked like he was going to fall over. So anything he would do to distract me, to try to hit me, do you see? So if I fall for a distraction, he'd come back with something else.
Did you fall for that?
Well, I did. The first couple times I did, because I've never fought anybody that actually got that low and really threw me off like that. Once you get to know the format or something, then you can overcome that. But it was amazing. I was just amazed watching this guy running around the floor looking like a monkey and like he was drunk.
Wow.
And it was, the art is very fascinating. So you learn. Like I said, you can always learn something from all styles.
Right. And everybody has their own style.
Well, everybody has their own system, but it's all comes from the basic foundation of karate, kung fu, or Kenpo. Nobody's coming out there originally saying, I got a complete new style. Yeah, right. Stuff's been around for thousands of years. All of a sudden,
it's like with singing.
You know, yeah, right. Singing's been around forever.
Yeah.
It may be a little style, but singing has been around forever. Same thing in the martial arts, okay? You may add lib, change, and adapt a few things, but your all foundation still came from the basic system that you learned.
Right.
So as I go back to the animals, and everything is circular. In Chinese movements, it's circular. Circular goes like this. It's a circle. And they use open hand movements, like a tiger or claw, okay?
Right.
They'd rake, a wrist movement, blocking with the wrist and coming around the hand. See, everything's circular motion. It's out, in, out, in, out, in, wrist blocking. Okay? Very weird looking.
Kind of looks like ballet.
Right, but see, it looks very pretty when it's done right, but everything you're doing, you're blocking and countering and striking.
So it's an art.
It's definitely an art. When I hear it's like, I would say, a sport. Oh, it's not a sport. It's an art.
It's an art.
It's an art. That's exactly what the martial arts is. It's an art.
What about wrestling?
Wrestling's great. Nothing wrong with wrestling.
Because
great wrestling, you grapple and get close in, and there's nothing wrong with wrestling. Wrestling is another form. Close in work. Now, speaking of close in work, we get into Kenpo.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get into.
Okay, Kenpo is nose to nose, toes to toes. In other words, we're like this.
I think I got that.
Okay. All right. So everything has to be close in. A lot of physics in Kenpo. Because what happens if somebody throws a punch, I'll stop the punch and stop it and strike and hang on to that individual real closely and follow through with a lot of techniques. Because let's say I'm going to hit the person, I want him to go backwards. So I'll throw a technique that his body will fall backwards. But I'm hanging on to him. Even though he's going to go backwards, but he's still there with me. So I'll strike and hit him with we'll say with an elbow, draws his body back because his body will throw back, but I'm still controlling him.
By holding his...
By holding his arm.
His arm, okay.
All right? And let's say I want to bring him forward, or bring him to the left or bring him to the right, I'll hit him with a technique left or right where the body will follow that motion when I hit him. So he'll go back and forth, up and depending how I hit him. Right. You may hit him up, bring him down, or bring him across, take him down, and then when you finally get done with the particular techniques, you let go and they fall. Because you hit them maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a matter of a second and a half. Then you're hanging out to them. So you're always close in. It's close in fighting. Very, very close in fighting. Or karate isn't. Somebody throws a punch, you block, you punch, he goes flying back. Or,
so how do you know when to use them? How do you know when to use karate or kung fu?
Okay, depending on how you're trained. If you have the ability to do these particular 3 arts, because you can mesh them. Okay, you can start off with a linear motion, coming up with a block like this, turn it into a circular, bringing them into you and doing some Kenpo moves, which I could show you